seriously. The mouth on a political figure, the mouth on a woman who hates what our country stands for, the mouth of a woman who despises Christianity, despises Israel, now running her mouth about Charlie Kirk, saying that we who supported him are full of shit. I'm going to say this, and it's not going to be very nice, but this country has no business electing somebody with a diaper on her head. I know that doesn't sound very nice, but I don't support Islam. It is wicked. It is evil. And you listen to Ilhan Omar, she takes it for granted that the way she talks over here, the men in her own country would not allow her that kind of platform ever under Islamic laws. Ilhan Omar is disgusting. That she still has a job, still has a seat in U.S. politics is proof that we have an element of society that is voting for our destruction. Totally voting for our destruction. How did we get here? People are losing their jobs. Ilhan Omar still running her mouth. You think AOC and Tlaib care about Charlie? Of course they don't. Because many Democrats believe that they should have freedom to say anything they want, even if it's offensive, racist, and untrue. They don't want us to have the same freedom of speech to use critical thinking to analyze their fallacious nonsense. Ilhan Omar is not a good human being at all. I have nothing positive to say about her at all. Never would. I do not respect her. She is anti-American, anti-Semitic. Well, we are in a prison in a way, aren't we? Perhaps. But we can still have freedom of thought. Good morning, Will. How are you? And welcome, federal investigation. We are in a prison in a way. We're bound by our human limitations. Hey, John, how are you? We're bound by our limitations. And what's sad in this country is that free people elect people that want to put us in chains. The mayor of Memphis, another high crime-infested city, does not like Donald Trump, does not want him coming in. The mayor of Chicago does not like Donald Trump, does not want him coming in. But yet they're not solving the problem. I'm all right, Will. Thank you. You? They're not solving the problem. They're not solving the crime. They don't care. One thing I've learned about people in any voted in position, corporate America, they're after their own agenda. These mayors are a joke. Now, you may be right, but the blue I can't get behind, federal. Cannot, but you are right. There's spiritual beings behind all of this. But listen to what Democrats say with all due respect. They just open mouth and prove that they follow the devil. My honest observation. And I will always take issue with the Democrat left. Always. They're a wrecking ball. They're not for good. Ilhan Omar should have never been voted in. She's Islamic. She is foul at that. And she really angers a lot of Americans because she does not believe, hey, top shelf, Good morning to you and welcome. She doesn't believe in the American dream, but she makes $175,000 a year to spew her anti-everything rhetoric. And now she can run her mouth about Charlie Kirk. Have you not seen thousands of people losing their jobs? Why is it that politicians got immunity because they're voted in? How come they can't be removed from office? How come I can lose my job for speaking out about a white woman beaten down by 6 African Americans, but this woman can't lose her job for saying inflammatory, racist, and offensive things over and over again on national airwaves? How does that work? That needs to be changed. Just because you got voted in does not mean you get immunity. That's crazy. Hey, Spencer, none of these people should get immunity. And we're going to crack down on everybody who said something offensive, then get her out of there. And AOC and Tlaib and Nancy Pelosi. They're investigating Nancy Pelosi's portfolio and finding all kinds of nasty stuff. But do you think anything will come of that? I'm telling you, these Democrats are a mafia. They got immunity. Thank you, Federal. Appreciate that. And thank you for subbing and coming in. We're living in dangerous times, folks. We're living in dangerous times. They showed a grown black man being given a life sentence the other day on a video for killing somebody. And he falls down and cries like a little baby about a sentence. Well, what'd you think, bud? You can just go out there and kill people and que sera, sera. You know what amazes me? The all I get is this right here is messed up in the lion's share of the populace in this country. You're getting on buses with that. You work next to that. Some of them are driving patrol cars. Some of them are mayors, governors. You got 2 black mayors of 2 major crime-infested cities. They're so anti-Trump. They're so proud and lifted up. They don't want to admit or humble themselves they've got a problem. I got a problem with that. If you can't lead, then get out of the way and let the real boys do it. Okay? Too many DEI people get in there. They want the money. They want the notoriety. And it's not working. It's not working. It absolutely is not working. We need to vote people in that are men and say, we got a problem in Memphis and I aim to do something about it. But they don't. Al Sharpton, who's always been a rabble-rouser, definitely doesn't stand up for the truth ever. He's old now, much older than me. He's up there saying Trump wanting to go in these cities and stop crime is just racism. Why? Is it because the majority of the people committing crimes in those places happen to be black? Al, why don't you deal with the mayors that are black and they're not even taking on the issue and trying to turn it around? Boom. I mean, everything is racism to them, but they're not solving the problem. They can't even get their own people to stop killing each other. They can't. They can't do it. Why? Because they don't want to. Somebody said the other day, if you want to stop an addiction, it starts with you. How bad do you want to stop it? The truth is, we like what we like. Any one of us. You can apply this in any situation. We like what we like. You can put up a speed limit, but if people want to speed, they're going to speed. And they'll keep doing it and doing it and doing it. I'm amazed here. I go on these streets that are 45 and they're going 80. Double that. Double. How does that figure? Yeah. And the mayor's not happy about it. Well, to the mayor, who's a DI voted in dude, pee or get off the pot. If you're going to be a mayor, there's big boy responsibilities that come with that. And part of that is making your city safe. Mayor, do your job or get out. Why do we vote in clowns? Why? Why do we vote in clowns? He's a DEI hire. He's accomplishing nothing. Same with the mayor of Chicago. Big talker, big mouth. We don't want Trump in here. Yeah, you like your dirty little secrets, don't you? And you got all these bodyguards around you, big boy. Why aren't Chicagoans paying for that? If your city's so wonderful and safe, walk out there unarmed, dude. You afraid of your own people getting you? Oh, maybe that's what it is. I'm so sick of these politicians. That's all they are, is politicians. They want their money, they want their notoriety, and they can run back to their little ethnic community and say, I was a black mayor. Well, la-di-da, what did you do? That's right, Top Shelf. Making a profit. They just up there for the, the headship games. Walking around like they're the hustler and the big kahuna. I'm sorry, but the mayor's office has been pimped in Chicago and Tennessee. You want to hear something offensive? It's been pimped. We put these hustlers in here that don't do anything, then they want to talk smack against Donald Trump. I'm getting tired of this. Is anybody getting sick of this? Is anybody sick of this? A element from the black community is always racist and Trump and this and that, but you're not fixing the problem. We're done with you all, man. Let the real boys lead. Thank you, Boats. Yeah, Brandon Johnson's no good. He's no good. He's no good. He's no good. Baby, he's no good. If you can't even protect your own race, please don't talk about racism. Please don't talk about Donald Trump. You're a wannabe leader. That's it. Wearing your suit and tie with your little bodyguard entourage. Hey, dude, if your city's so well-oiled machine, then don't walk around with protection. Scared? Huh. Always blaming others. Really, Aloha? Well, I wish I could see that. Yeah, Mark, it's sick. These people are danger to their own black community. Many blacks in leadership today are more of a danger to the black community than any white leader since my time. Since my time. Blacks are the most generous people. I don't find that to be the case. I've had more blacks ask me to borrow money and not pay me back than whites. So, nope, that ain't gonna fly. Yes, welcome from the UK. And people can come on here and say you're a racist. No, I speak the truth. I'm getting tired of these DEI mayors, DEI people. Look at Baltimore. Baltimore's got violent crime, black mayor, nothing's done. Then you got Schittmer in Michigan, a governor. She hasn't turned Detroit around. She had the most draconian lockdowns, and they keep voting in slime and trash, garbage, and refuse. I'm going to call it that. Now, I know as a Christian, I shouldn't say that because God so loved the world and he gave his only begotten son. But when you reject God, and when you make fun of conservatives and make fun of people who believe in God, that's the kind of leadership you're going to get. Another toilet bowl production. The View, let's talk about that. There's an example of that there's nothing to do with journalism with The View. It is a bunch of stuck in adult body middle school girls that never mature to grow up developmentally up here. They just go, they can't dress right, they got too much gloppy makeup on, and they think they're so important and they make big money for producing hatred, racism, and lies. Hey, Paladin, how are you? Derek, any one of us in this room could be a mayor better than him. Dot, dot, dot. Neither have you what? What am I wearing? It's a top. It's one that I made from another shirt. Thank you, TN, because you know what? You don't have to have a political degree You don't have a social science degree. You just got to use basic common sense. All you got to do is look and observe and pay attention. If you're going to run for office, do the job. But we know what happens in this community. They favor their own. They want to talk about the victimization of their own. And Memphis is extremely violent and dangerous. And you had a huge amount of blacks pour in there over the last so many years. And guess what? There goes the neighborhood. And people don't like it when I say that. But you look at any of these cities that got the major crime element, liberal, black. Facts, lies, racist, you tell me. They don't like it when you tell the truth. They get angry. They just call you racist. That's their out button. That's their ejection seat. If they can prove I'm a racist, they can unvalidate me and say, oh, nope, he's a racist. Don't got to listen to him. It's an MO. It's a default mode. And that's why we can't solve the problem in the U.S. because you got people that want to stop up their ears, just like the song, na, 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 na. It's like a cult. It's like a cult. You could tell Jim Jones followers, hey, your leader's wrong. No, man. Much of the African-American community in the U.S. is a cult. It is impenetrable with logic, common sense, and facts. Any cult is guilty of that. So I refer to the black movement in America. I'm not talking about those that came out of it. There's plenty of people, Hodge twins and others, they're speaking out. But they're minuscule compared to the whole. Dot, you're missing what I'm saying. Case in point, right there. There's a thinking within the black community that's cult-like. They won't listen to truth, facts, and logic, even if it's staring them in the face. What happened to Charlie Kirk was evil. It was an assassination. He died for speaking the truth. He died for boldly proclaiming Christ. And we're beginning to see the pie chart show up that these transgenders, 2 school shootings, Christian, Catholic, and now this. Wait a minute. You say, well, Tyler wasn't transgender. Nobody was dating a trans. And that's a lie, by the way. Tyler was dating a gay boy. That's it. We need to stop using transgender. When you call yourself trans, you're a gay boy. That's it. Gay boy. Femyaz, gay boy. And we're going to call it that. You're gay. You like homosexuality. So you add the dynamic of being feminine, and you're going to pretend you're a woman, but you're just gay. That's it. And people love it. They see me dressed like this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're saying you should dress like that. I didn't sew up my hot dog to look like a taco. Okay? And I'm not into boys. Okay? I like the feel of some feminine stuff. I am different and I'm just real, and that's it. That's it. I'm not out there shooting people. I'm not out there picking off people that say things that are based in truth. I'm not shooting anybody. That's right. I guess it is a cross-dresser. I don't know. I don't consider myself a cross-dresser. I just consider myself wearing what I like. Hey, Daffy, how are you? Genuine, honest. And I get attacked a lot. You know, I'm not the suit and tie Christian. I'm not I've got short hair, going to look like everybody else Christian. That's not my style. That's just not me. I've had people tell me, if you want to get a job, cut your hair. Really? These jobs pay $11, $12 an hour. And if you think I'm going to cut my hair for that, you'd better guess again. These are crap jobs, crap pay. You want the work done or not? You tell me. I'm all right. That's right, TN. Thank you, Ethan. No, and one thing you will not hear on here is BS. I know looks defy. People look at me and they think, oh boy, here we go. Woke-a-roo. I'm awake, but I'm not woke. I don't know why we use the term woke for liberals. They're not woke. They're asleep and wrong thinking. That's right. Why do we have to fit? You know, the Bible says, do not allow the world to squeeze you into its mold. Okay. I love it when I cannot hold something properly. That seems to be a problem more and more. Aging or something. Crazy. I like the smell of this. It smells good. Discouragement hits me every day. I can't believe what's happening in this country. I can't believe what's happened to me. And the only reason these people are getting fired, most of them, because the media is trying to distance itself from the fact that they encouraged all this violence. Do you notice our media? Do you notice our Democrats? Not one of them has got up and said, we have been guilty of violent-induced rhetoric. Maxine and others, and Gavin Newsom, Biden, and they didn't never admit they're wrong. And here you got Ilhan Omar, who's a potty mouth, got a diaper on her head. She's not a pretty woman. She has no business being in any leadership position in this country. She belongs back in Somalia. She belongs back in her Islamic Sharia law state, not here. She hates us. She was ripping on Charlie, saying his followers are full of shit. Really? Honey, there's more people in this country that support him than support your sorry racist. And then you were sleeping with your brother? Hey, let's investigate that stuff, shall we? I believe incest is against the law in America. I don't know, Phil. Why do you got to post it in the room? You're going to unsub? You should know how to do that. Hi, Bob. I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, James. How are you? But how do you get New York? Or, excuse me, Minnesota, don't you know? I lived in northern Minnesota. Why would they buy into a rabid Islamic and vote that in? Yes, Ethan, absolutely. I was saved in 1985. Hi, Derek. How do you vote in a rabid Muslim? If anybody's full of shit, the one with the diaper on the head is a good place to start. And people may say I'm being insensitive. You know what? She has disrespected us all. This is not a Muslim country. You have the right to practice your religion, and that is something that we should have changed. Islam does not allow us to put a Christian church over there. Remember when people fought in Desert Storm? The soldiers were not even allowed to have a Bible in their backpack in Kuwait. And you know what I'd say to that? Well, then we don't need to be here defending you, do we? And anybody who comes to the U.S. who has a religious belief that doesn't allow Christianity, you don't get to have a mosque. You don't get to have a mosque. Nellie, I don't have an idol. Yeah, what happened to Charlie Kirk was just flat out wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. I love how the leftists call him a hater, a fascist, a bigot. They just throw those words around because that's all they know how to do. Falsely accuse. And the left, the Democrats, Ilhan Omar, almost say it again. They're blind because they follow their father, the devil. And what does the Bible say about the father, the devil? He's called the father of lies. He comes to destroy, kill, devour. He owns the Democrat left. He's got them neatly and snugly in his hand. And the only reason they can't see it is because the God of this world has blinded their eyes. Hey, Joey. Yeah, Rich. Well, a lot of things are being pushed today that ain't right. Hate speech is being pushed by the left. They wanted to silence Charlie Kirk. TMZ, which is crap TV, applauded. Did you hear all those women and people celebrating in there? The place I just got terminated from. You think any of those black people cared about Charlie Kirk's assassination? No, they didn't. They don't care. They only care when something happens to their own. They didn't care about George Floyd, Michael Brown, Rodney King, Trayvon Martin until it made the news. Until it made the news. They didn't. None of the black community warned these people, hey, stop doing this stuff. You're going to get yourself in trouble with the popo. Nobody cared. They only care after there's a white person involved, and now, oh, time to get some free television sets. Hey, we need a free TV, honey. Do we got anything we can turn into a crap storm? Yeah, I think the white guy had a knee in George. All right, let's go get a TV time. Yeah, TV time, free TV. From Portland all the way to New York. You can laugh, you can mock, but that's the truth. Bible says, do not seek revenge. And you got blacks claiming to be Christians that vote Democrat, that support abortion, support LGBT, and then they support and were silent about the riots. Silent about the riots. I'm not dressing like no business nobody, because what I say is the business. It's not what I wear. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. And I know Pentecostal can be strict. The men wear slacks, women have buns in their hair. I've been to a Pentecostal here and there. I am a guy. I'm probably more guy than you. Remodeled my house by myself. I was even doing a video in the bathroom. Sheetrock and caulking and drywall mud and painting and mostly peaceful writing. Yes, Susie. Don't you love how the media spun that? As buildings are going down, they burned down an entire police station. Remember Chaz in Seattle? Wasn't that beautiful? Mr. Rastafarian. Yeah, we peace lovers. And the silly, I don't know if she was on drugs. The mayor of Seattle says it's a love fest. No, they're stealing property that doesn't belong to them and hijacking the entire city of Seattle. We don't want Trump in here. Oh boy, don't get me started on that. Trump, not Kamala. I wouldn't put Kamala Harris in charge of a Snoopy snow cone machine stand. Were you really, Daffy? Were you downtown when all that crap was going on? The cops aren't the ones tearing the cities apart. Oh, yes, Tanya's coming after me. Good. We need a good fight in here. Come on, Tanya. I'm not spreading any hate. I'm spreading the truth. You don't like what I say, so you call it hate. You don't like what I say, so you call it racist. That's how that works. We're on to you, man. It's over. Listen to the nation. Listen to what they're saying. They're tired of y'all. They're tired of you leftist liberals. They're tired of the blacks whining about their real or imagined racism and victimization. We're tired of it. You're done. It's over. You're done. Your mayors aren't cleaning up your cities and Trump has to come in. You're done, Tanya. You're done. The age-old argument ain't working anymore. Race go round is done. It's a broken, scratchy record. Take it off, throw it against the wall, and end it. End it. We're tired of it, and you don't like it, so call us hate and racist. It's worked, but it's not working no more. Did you see the hate and racism? Did you see the hatred from transgender and gay man wanting to kill Charlie Kirk? He wasn't, no, see? It's just crazy. Oh, you're a Republican accusing me of hate. Isn't that ironic? You must be a rhino. Okay. That's right, Noah. Let's go, Tanya. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Read in the Old Testament when the Jewish people of Israel went in to destroy the temple, the Asherah poles, and it was used as a latrine to this day. Do you know what a latrine is, Tanya? Anybody in the room want to put a definition of latrine? They pissed in there. Respecting other religions? God did not respect other religions. God is a jealous God. Now, I'm talking about Ilhan Omar. I have Muslim friends and I've always been respectful to them, but Ilhan Omar saying offensive, inflammatory things about us, Charlie Kirk, I'm going to speak out against her. She's a diaper head. And no, I'm not apologizing for that. I don't have to respect Islam. It's a false belief system. Absolutely not. There's a Muslim who came in there the other day asking for a Bible. You know, truth is truth, and you can't just soft soap it, soft pedal it. And that's why we have gangs. That's why we have Democrat Party out of control. That's why we have crime out of control. Because we, the conservatives, Republicans, are mealy-mouthed. We're also worried about not offending, and look what's happened. They're offending everybody and killing everybody, and we're just so afraid. Tanya, I don't share that with you. I'm going to go get some snacks. I don't share that with you. It hasn't been working. It's not working. All right, which one of you called the helicopter to fly over my house with the spotlight? Anybody want to pony up? Actually, they're not spotlighting. I remember growing up in LA and the police helicopter would be flying over the neighborhoods all the time. Like, uh-oh, something's going down. So, Jay, they actually have been. Look at the best candidate they put up years ago to run against Obama, Mitt Romney. You know, you got it wrong. Republicans, you know, they for a long time, they weren't cutting edge. They didn't have the fire in their eyes. The Democrats spew hate all day long. All day. They say offensive things. They say my race is privilege. What a lie. I'm privileged my butt. I'm privileged my butt. Not. There's not a United Caucasian College Fund. They don't have affirmative action down here for me. Nope, not at all. Hi, Cynthia. Have you ever watched CNN and The View? They're way more offensive and hateful than Fox ever was. Let me ask you this, Jay. You support Charlie Kirk's shooting? You support that? Let's pinpoint here. How'd you feel about the black guy knifing the Ukrainian woman on that Charlotte, North Carolina bus? You got anything to say about that? How about the white woman beaten down by 6 African Americans, mouthful of banana, in Cincinnati? Let's hear your take on that. You want to zero in and attack, so let's attack you. Weigh in on those, because that's the critical stuff right now. I'm going to do like Jesus. I'm going to ask you a question to your question. And when you answer that, then I'll answer you. It was extremely angry about it. What do you mean? Oh, you're angry. I got you. The View, I cannot believe that garbage pail television production, that is not journalism. Tanya, I don't have hate. If you took the time to actually get to know me, you'd be safer around me than most people because I'm not a violent inducer. I speak vocally with my mouth because you listen to these Democrats, they just are. I need to be who I am. People are too nice. These people on the left are not nice. They want us dead. AOC said anybody who voted for Trump, they needed to make a list and deny us employment. Isn't that nice? That's really part of the American process, ain't it? Penalize those of us who voted our conscience. What in the hell is AOC doing in office? She's got more substance in her tatas than she does in her head. She's attractive, but she's dumb as a stump. You too, Nellie. Take care. Thanks for coming in. Hey, Deal, we got the granola without the chocolate today. I'll get a mouthful of canker sores if I eat too much of this. Cranberries, man. Too much acid in them. We always got these to deal with. Always. What experience? Sometimes, Tanya, you have to answer a fool according to folly, and other times you have to not answer a fool according to folly. There's two verses that say just the opposite of each other in the Word. I mean, is your way working? Is it changing this country? You have to look at that. They've been very vocal. We need to be vocal back. I'm not the hate. I'm not the one calling for people to riot and tear up people's cities and homes. I don't like violence. I don't like vandalism and busting people's property, stealing. The Democrats were completely silent about the riots. Not one person from the black community told this BLM movement, hey, we can't do things this way. Not one black high-profile preacher stood up and says, thou shalt not seek revenge. You cannot do this, people. And they sought revenge for what? The lies that the media built that Officer Chauvin killed George Floyd. Charlie Kirk even said, not true. He said he was loaded up on fentanyl, original coroner's report. But, the Bible talks about that. It says people heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, hearing what they want to hear. People are stopping up to here's the truth. That's why Tyler killed Charlie. He liked that good orgasmic feeling with his gay lover. And he's angry that somebody would dare to talk about gay stuff and trans. I got a book on the shelf, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. You got to read it sometime about what the SS and the brown shirts did. They were practicing homosexuals, and yet they would go out and kill gays. Very dark group of people. These gays are not just some mediocre thing we can ignore anymore. These trans, we've got 3 high-profile cases that have been consistent. Shoot up a Christian school, shoot up a Catholic school, now shoot Charlie Kirk. Because of a trans belief system. Number one, You cannot be transgender. That's a lie. You're either gay or you're straight. You were born a male or you're born a female. You can be a sissy, but you're still a dude. You can be butch, but you're still a woman. You cannot change the DNA code that God assigned you at birth. Even before birth, excuse me. In the developing stages, you were predetermined by the Almighty what sex you were to be. I know nothing about the function of a brain. And you have a channel proving me wrong, right? And you have 6,400, 6,500 followers, right? And you have videos that pull in 30, 47,000 views, right? Okay, get back to me when you got some facts, please. I've seen a lot of YouTube lives. Just this morning I was going through and I'm like, a lot of these have absolutely no content at all. I talk about issues, controversy, current events, God, faith, my own struggles and failures, and the struggles and failures of others. It's a great topic because we are building a community here. Explain intersex, there's nothing to explain. They got all these names for everything. Polyamorous, swingers, bi-curious. Well, how about if we do the old-fashioned thing here? When a man lies with another man as with a woman, it is an abomination to God. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Put away all uncleanness, fornication, sex before marriage. Giving into drunkenness, that's sin. Be not drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit. Speeding in your car, not following traffic laws is sinning. The Bible says submit to the governing authorities. Not claiming your money on your income tax, all that under the table stuff. That's a violation of God's very word. Give to Caesar's what is Caesar's. I mean, we all guilty. Nobody's perfect. I don't drink any stars. I don't like alcohol in any form. Absolutely. The family is the nuclear core, and that's being shattered. And we can point to an entire ethnic community in the U.S. 75 to 80% of the children are raised by the moms. And we wonder why there's so much crime. Need I say any more? Everybody has a voice. But what is it being used for? You got men that like to impress everybody how tough and badass they are. But are they solving the problems of the world? They're intimidating. They're alpha complex, but are they solving the problems? No. My God has no chromosomes. Well, that's cute. And you base that on what? There's no consequences for wrong in this country. Or there's consequences for some, but not others. And that does exist. Now, you don't have science behind you. God is not a created entity. God is eternal. God wasn't created. You're created. I'm created. The universe was created. That's true, Daffy. When I drove school buses, the rules are the same for everybody, but I had to learn with students. Some responded to different things as far as trying to deal with correcting bad behavior. That's right. It is not a belief system. God declared them male and female. This 88 pronouns is a bunch of gibberish, foolishness. This is what happens when society says we evolved from some primordial slime, and the Democrats think survival of the fittest applies to them, and they control the public education system, and they start with the premise that there is no God and that we evolved over billions of years when there's no scientific, factual basis or foundation for such rot. The LGBT community is not solving the problems in this world. They're only exacerbating it. You can operate a motor vehicle with 4 flat tires, but it's not going to run the way it's intended to until you put 4 inflated tires on there. Okay? It'll run. It'll move. Sin feels good. You can think, oh, my relationship with same sex is better if it was with opposite sex. For a minute. And guess what? Time goes by. You'll find that'll change. Isn't man and woman a division inside of humanity? What do you mean, Nicholas? Men and women are not the same. Even the Bible asserts that. It said women are the weaker vessel. Women will gaffe at that, but it's still true. Women tend to be more emotionally driven. Men tend to be more concrete thinkers. Men tend to have more brute strength. Not always. Why do you think the women are screaming and yelling about men that want to claim to be girls or joining women's sports? The women don't want a man in there because the man has an advantage. So even the women in sports recognize that. Even our society and their hypocrisy prove God's true. Women say it's their right to have an abortion and there's nothing wrong with it. But if a shooter goes and kills a pregnant woman, he's guilty of 2 homicides. Really? I thought it was just a tissue blob, though. Funny how that changes, isn't it? God will not be mocked. Truth is truth. Liars are liars. But I'm talking about Ilhan Omar. We're not voting in people who are for the good of everybody. We're voting in termites that are eating the supports out from under our country, chewing at the fabric of our Constitution, chewing at family values, chewing up Judeo-Christian ethic. Ilhan Omar is an angry, nasty woman. There's nothing classy, nothing intellectual. She was voted in by dumb Minnesotans that have no discernment. Look at Tim Walz, the governor of the state. Who ever thought a pudgy, semi-bald-headed man would come up and say they need tampon dispensers in the bathroom. When I was a kid, a guy that looked like Tim Waltz could be my grandpa. And grandpas back in the day were rocks. My grandpa served in the Merchant Marine and sailed the 7 seas in World War II and Vietnam. Tim Waltz. What happened? What happened? You want to talk about science, and I love it that the Democrats say, oh, Republicans don't believe in science. We do. But global warming is not always science. Evolution is not science. It's a faith-based belief system by the atheists who laugh at faith. And yet it takes more faith to believe their hoo-ha than it does to believe that God created in the 6 days and rested on the 7th. So watch this. Tim Waltz likes to talk about science, but scientifically it's impossible for a man to have a period. So there you go, boom. And we voted that clown to run an entire state. I wouldn't move to Minnesota at all. I lived there for 7 years. They're pretty dumb up there. Pretty dumb. They vote blue. They vote in the clowns of clowns. I was in Duluth years ago. I'd come back from visiting family in Arizona. I got a teal green sweatshirt that said Arizona on it. Walked into the Hallmark store at Miller Hill Mall. The lady running the counter, a bit older than me, glares at me and she says, is there any reason you're wearing an Arizona sweatshirt? I said, yes, ma'am, it's where I'm from. And I just went out there to visit my family. Well, this is Minnesota. And I said, and what does that have to do with anything? I should have turned her butt into the manager. I cannot believe this is no joke. Truth is stranger than fiction. She didn't like it that I was wearing an Arizona sweatshirt. It just said Arizona and had a cactus and stuff on it. Really? Maricopa? I've heard of Maricopa County. I loved Arizona when I was in school. Loved the Grand Canyon. It's so funny when you call it the Petrified National Forest, you go out there and it's all desert. There's no forest. There's some huge fallen trees turned to stone. Thank you, Clayton. And this is why I do this. I like to dress this way, but I also like to show something. Which people in America are causing all the inflation, the debt, messing with our money, jacking up the cost? Who's doing that? People dressed like me or the suits and ties? You see, we got everybody believe you dress for success. Some of the biggest shysters, hucksters, fools, and clowns wear suits and ties. I could never get voted into politics. I would love to campaign just like this. Michael, you can't go in Congress dressed like that. Why not? The Democrats support the trans community and all that. Why can't I go in dressed like this? I find that such a joke. It's all about dress. It's never about this. That's the office game that you got to play. Who's Susie and who needs to change their name to Karen? The LGBT snitch? There's nothing wrong with Susie. Foul-mouthed girlfriend. And as my teacher used to say when I was in middle school, you eat with that mouth? I'm glad you're here, foul-mouthed. At least you're getting exposed to truth. That's awesome. Why don't you just tell me what the issue is? You're a fast typer. You can type. Tell me what the problem is. I'm not going to scroll all the way up there. Me and Susie had so much fun. What does Susie do that's so terrible? That I'm a red and drag? I'm not a drag queen. But I do like wearing feminine clothing sometimes because I like it. But my brain is intact. I'm not trans. I have no interest in that. I like women very much. God did a good job when he made a woman. Sight-wise. She's saying the crocodile rock. Yep. I don't know if you're safe, foul-mouthed girlfriend. People that disagree with me, they might shoot me or kill me. I don't know if that's a safe thing to do. Welcome, everybody. Oh, so you're a guy wanting to be a girl. I'm not going to meet you at Pendleton King Park. You might try to shoot me. I'm going to pass. We're seeing, the media is displaying it, that the trans are dangerous. They don't accept having open conversation and agreeing to disagree. They get mad, they're going to shoot somebody. And then they go in and take it out on little kids. That's really scary. A Catholic school and a Christian school, you know what? You're losing your credibility just on that alone. That graph chart, that statistical chart is starting to build against you. I have no problem meeting and discussing with somebody, but it would be unwise for me to meet up with you. Because we already know it's open season on people who tell the truth. You don't allow somebody to disagree with you, you're just going to shoot them. No thanks. I lost what? What did I lose, Fal? Are you sure you're not Andrew? Are you sure you're not Andrew Drescher? Somebody want to look up Foul Mouth and see how long ago they made their account here? Can somebody do that for me? You're right, I hope. Deuteronomy 22:5. You're right. I've been very honest. I don't always reflect Christ in everything I do or say. I'm not there yet. Joke, unfortunately, it's about sides. Today it seems like there's evil and there's even more evil. Thou art allowed for the memes. It's believed Moses did under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Conservatives aren't the ones shooting and killing people. Hey, Backwoods, how are you? Evil can look like a human in sheep's clothing. Yeah, but Foul, look at Robinson. You look like all-American boy, short hair. Look what he did. People like to say it puts the lotion in the basket and on the skin with me. I don't even watch those movies. I'm not that. Moses was not hearing voices. So, Jake, do you believe every book you read? Because they were written by men and women too. You believe everything they wrote is the truth? I can tell you right now, a lot of college textbooks are completely false. Every Christian is Delulu? No, I don't think so, Jay. Come on now. Do you ever associate nightmares with demonic entities? Could be. Yeah, it does say it's written by God. But all scripture is given by, anybody want to quote the rest of that verse? It is God breathed. God used men with their own unique personalities. In the Gospel of John, you hear John say over and over, the other disciple. He's talking about himself. The other disciple outran Jesus to the tomb. The disciple whom Jesus loved. He's talking about himself. So even in humanity, John is kind of exalting himself a little bit, showing that. Well said, Daffy. And what you have to look at is that the theme of Christ and redemption and the fact that we're sinners and need God's grace goes from Genesis to Revelation. There's continuity. And God doesn't hide the mistakes and sins of David when he sinned with Bathsheba. He doesn't hide it at all. He even got a chapter devoted to a homosexual country called Sodom and Gomorrah. They were so horn-dogged up, they saw these angels, and they banged on Lot's door saying, bring out those men so that we can have sex with them. And Lot offered his 2 daughters. Now, what father would offer his 2 daughters? And the angel said, nope, everybody in. They struck all these gay people with blindness, and they were groping around trying to find their way back home. And later on, Lot's daughters got daddy drunk because they said, we don't have anybody to carry our race. A little incest going on there. Wow. The own 2 girls were pretty bold. No, the Bible doesn't hide the sins. That's what makes the book so credible. Corporate America tries to edit everything out. We got to be professional. I love when I was going downtown yesterday to put in an application. I was amazed at all the suits and ties and the way they were driving around me. The ones that call themselves professionals. Twice over posted speed, no signals, trying to beat the next person at the red light. Like, these aren't professionals. They're all actors, all of them. A lot of stuff in our society is just a lie in packaging. That's it. But God did give man free will. Foul, you want him to make you a robot? What kind of a love relationship is that if God just makes us a certain way? Then our heart is never really there, is it? It's supposed to be. The Bible says we love not because we first love, but because he first loved. The reason God loves us and gives us free will is he tries to woo us to himself. He doesn't grab a stick and say, you better follow me. He doesn't do that. Have you read the whole Bible, Jay? I've read it over entirely. And I talk about the seeming contradictions all the time. You can go back to my other streams and hear them. Hosea was told to marry a prostitute. God did not give you gender dysphoria. You gave yourself that. Foul, you did. You made a choice. Dollar Tree veggie chips. I had a banana. People say they're born gay. No, they're not. There's environmental factors. Foul, we fight because we're fallen beings. It's not God's fault. Go back to the garden, you'll find out why the world is the way it is. God said, you can eat of any tree in the garden, but not that one over there. And what did they do? Went to the one over there. Do you know there was also a tree of life in there? They could have ate from that, and they never did. They chose the one that God said no. And I know that because at the end of that whole sad fall of creation, he kicks them out of the garden and he tells them, he puts two seraphim guarding the way to the tree of life, lest they eat it. They could have eaten that before, but they chose the forbidden fruit, whatever it was. And once we sinned, that infected the hard drive of creation. Animals started eating each other. Death, disease, burial, bloodshed started becoming the norm. When God made the original creation, he saw that it was good. We had truly non-GMO and organic. You could reach up and grab beautiful fruit with no pesticides. Yeah, God loves you, foul. God loves everybody in ways that I cannot and that nobody can. Most people love with a motive, foul. A lot of guys love a woman because she's hot and dressed provocatively. A lot of women love a man because he's got a big fat bank account. And when they're really in love with an ATM. Or a guy's in love with her because of her tots sticking through her top. Let's be honest. I don't believe eating meat is a sin. But you instantly went radical saying, I was going to possibly hurt you. I said, I'm not going to meet you in a park because I don't know what your motives are. You're admitting you're trans. And I've watched the track record. Trans are shooting people. Can I say something honest here? If any of us are honest, we've all had some weird go through our heads. If we're human. We're humans. Diary of Anne Frank, sweet little girl. During the Holocaust, her family hid Jews. They didn't go out and about. Another woman was dressing next to her and she saw her breasts and felt ecstasy. People try to cut that out of the story. Why? That's her diary. Leave it there. Why do we hide stuff? Well, that promotes lesbian. No, it doesn't. The young girl was having a moment when she saw another woman's breasts. Do you know how many women have told me they felt that? Shoot, when I was in middle school, the guys were all acting a little gayish. It's part of development. Some people never quite come out of it. We were not meant to destroy each other. That's what we would do if it wasn't for God stepping in. But you're right about one thing. You're not lumped into anything. You and I and all of us in this room are sinners that need to be saved. You choose to say you're trans. You're not trans. You're a guy that likes gay. That's it. Call it what it is. No, I wouldn't have done this in the 90s, but it wasn't in my mind then. I didn't even think about it. I was at a different stage of my life then. Jay, I didn't see what you wrote. You're trying to think you're all intellectual. If I don't see what you wrote and you accuse me of something, that's dirty billiards, bud. I didn't even see what you wrote. So I think you know by my voice and my tone, I'm not avoiding a thing. I can't keep up with all the chat. I'm focused on foul right now, not you. Who said I have been known for violence? Jay? Well, if you're known for violence, I really don't want to have a discussion with you. Because I don't like violence. I don't like it. I don't need to like it. We've had a week of nothing but violence in this country. School shootings, grown man on a bus knifing a Ukraine woman, coming home from work. As if she didn't go through enough in her country. And you got some thug, rabbit-infested, hateful black guy riding a bus that don't give a crap about nobody. Got too much of that in this country. Too much. And Teresa Stokes, a black magistrate judge, kept letting them go. Cashless bail. That's crap. I'm confused about what you're saying, Curly. I'm not the one that said I wanted to meet her. He said he wanted to meet me at Pendleton King Park. Just the fact that he wants to meet there, that's suspect all by itself. It's a public place, but it's wooded. Why would I do that? I'm not afraid or ashamed of my views, but I have to use wisdom. The courthouse is not on Broad Street. But what is your intent for meeting? I don't know you well enough to say, let's do that. I'm not afraid of my views. But I don't have a death wish either. Yeah, but what's the point? You're not going to convince me that I'm wrong in believing in God. And like Vic said, after Charlie Kirk and what happened, no, I got to use some discernment here. It's not that I live in fear, but I ain't going to just go meet up with somebody I don't know who has an opposing viewpoint. I understand about the typing. I hate it too. If there was a way where you and I could live stream side by side, that'd be the better way so that everybody could see it right here. That would be awesome. And I still can't figure out how to do that because the phone, this iPhone and technology makes that difficult. I have no idea how to pull. I can't even pull them on. I have to start the stream bringing somebody in. And I don't know how to do that because it goes back to phone numbers on my phone numbers. No, I need to bring people on YouTube in here. How does that work? It's messed up. Yeah, Winnie, I no offense, Fowl, you may have no ill will, but I don't know that. There are people that love to kill me. There's people that like to kill anybody who believes as I do. We're seeing this. Well, Fowl, like I said, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. I'm going to tell you this, Fowl. Every one of us has our struggles. And the only thing I can suggest to you, yeah, I got to figure out how to do it, Daffy. I have no clear direction on how to make that happen. It says I can invite when I set it up, but it doesn't go to YouTube contacts. It goes into my phone contacts. I'm like, you can't bring somebody from my phone contacts in here. They're not even, most of them aren't even on YouTube. Thank you, Susie, and you too. Thank you for coming in, and I hope you'll be back. Well, thank you, Daffy, because this technology, they've made it hard. Shoot, Augusta's got its own damn crime. They just had a white guy shoot his ex and the mother of his ex over a fight they had at Best Buy on the good side of town. Killed them both over a custody battle. He got primary and it was visitation and they were told to meet at a public place. That was mistake number one. They should have met at the police department to hand off the kid. Now dad really blew it. Now he got custodial right of his kid. Now you're going to be in jail for murder, double murder, and he won't get to see his boy again. So it's amazing how people do things and really crap in their own lunchbox, And I just saw this morning where I go walking down by the river. Y'all seen my Savannah River? Right up on the hill where that anchor is, they had I wondered why there was an ambulance down there the other night. Because they found a dead body washed ashore. Nice. Yeah, Winnie, that's sad. Really sad. Thank you, Winnie. And you're right. Winnie, if you can, pray for me because I've really been accusing God. I've had a hard time believing he's good. He seems so distant right now. I didn't know that, Fal. I didn't know that at all. Hello, Bridge. Mr. E-Rock, how are you? Yeah, I don't know what Jay's going on. Stop reading him because he just seems to be an antagonizer. Yeah, Vivian, I don't know. YouTube, all this, and the Apple phone is not easy. I didn't ignore you. I told you again, I didn't see your point. I'm engaged in the chat. I'm not like this, looking for everything you say, Jay. You like to make a case that you won. You didn't win. I didn't see the comment. So put it right now. Shut up or put up. Put the comment. What is the point you made? Do it. Go. I'm looking. Yeah, well, we got sidetracked. I got sidetracked. Post it now. Quit the back and forth. Post it. Guys, you leave a comment, Winnie, on a YouTube video of mine, and then I'll click on it, and we'll see what we can find. E-Rock, can you see when Bridge made the account, please? I've reposted repeatedly. Nope, don't see it. I just posted it. Nothing. Nothing. I'm still waiting. America needs God, end of story. That one right there, Vic. That one. 2020. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's rusted, and the brickyards. I would never go down there at night. That's a great place for a horror movie backdrop. Over there by that bait and fishing store. I would never go back. I haven't even been down there yet. But they used to drop murder victims down in there. And the gators would get them. Hey, Jesse, welcome. Winnie, thanks for coming in. Jay, I'm still waiting for your point, and it's not here. What happened? Winnie finds the way. That's cute. Have a good day, Winnie. Hey, Lynn. How is Lynn? But you haven't posted it since I asked you just within the last couple minutes. I'm still waiting. Did you, Lynn? That's good. I'm just going to warn you, before you exhaust yourself, it sounds like you don't believe in the book. Nothing you say is going to convince me that I believe wrong. I've been through every argument out there. Friends from North Carolina. Oh, that's awesome. So you went and saw family and friends. Why is YouTube blocking it? From birth, Carolina. I know, I was like, friends from birth, you went to Carolina. That's what I took. Got it. So what is the crux of the point? Can you do the KISS method? Keep it simple? Love Gun. How about Love Shack, Lynn? Man, they play that all the time down here on Bob. All the time. Sadly, I don't listen to Bob as much. They play the same 10 songs every hour. All these iHeart radio stations are redundant. Commercials, same music over and over on an endless loop. I like 95.1. A lot of the conservative good thought on there. Austin Rhodes is good. He's local. No, there's actually, it's KISS. There's two. Keep it simple, stupid. Yep, Gravity got it. Oh, do I need to be a sidewalk dancer to make money here? Do I need to resort to panhandling? Because getting a job just sounds like it's too much. Maybe if I say I want money for some liberal cause, I'll get potfuls of donations. Then I'll use it for God's glory. Wouldn't that be fun? Turn the beat around. Turn it all upside down. Bluegrass has got some good stuff. Fal, and I don't want you to not come in. I would be more than willing to meet you in time. Because I'm bold. I believe in living my faith. Just like Charlie Kirk. He made himself vulnerable with his little tent at the center. And that sorry son of a gun killed him. Killed him. That's not a man. You can't get on the roof on a campus building in the distance and shoot somebody just because you don't agree. That's not a man. Charlie Kirk was an honorable man even more than I am. He was definitely professional in his attire, his demeanor. I'm not a suit and tie guy. I will never be one. But I have nothing but praise and respect for Charlie and what he tried to do. That's more than I can say for most men. He stood boldly for conviction of country, God, family. He allowed the people to have a mic. His tent said, "Prove me wrong." His wisdom and his responses and articulation is to be emulated. We got a lot of dumb people that say all this stuff and they can't form a coherent sentence. This guy was on it. May I be like that. He's a mentor to me. Many people on the other side are afraid the president's rhetoric is going to inspire his people to act against them. There's always a danger of that. I'm not going to poo-poo that. And I hope that isn't the case. Pastor Barnett, I listened to him online, and my pastor on Sunday said we cannot respond as the world does. We can disagree with it, we can get upset about it, and we can say, thank you, God, for bringing this or that person to justice. But we're not going to. Peter grabbed the sword and sliced the high priest's ear off during the arrest of Jesus in the garden. Jesus said, no, 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 no. My kingdom is not of this world. We don't fight that way. And sometimes you get some Christians and conservatives and that tough talk, and I can be guilty of it too. We have to be careful. Seek not revenge. I will revenge, says the Lord. I can't solve all this hate and problems. I don't want what Ilhan Omar is saying, but guess what? It's okay to pray that God moves his hand against them. In fact, that's the far better way. I had an asshat at work threatening me and troubling me. He got away with murder and bad behavior for years. And I'm not making this up. The guy's a jerk. Racist. A troublemaker, didn't put in an honest day at all. And yet they continue to let him be employed. One day I just said, God, I need you to move your hand against this guy because they're not doing anything. The very next day, he was asked to come off of his job as a mechanic and drive a bus route. He got done with the kids, reached forward, grabbed his phone, was looking at it, didn't even push the brakes. I had just repaired 25 seats on that bus. I had torn it down to the frames, brand new covers, brand new everything. I came to work the next day and looked like I'd hit a dang cement freeway barrier top to bottom. The windshield was out, the step well was crushed, the whole bus was totaled. And yet they let him be there employed for 2 months. I said something on YouTube about the white woman shot and I'm fired. Put on administrative leave for 20 days before they reached a verdict. Meetings I wasn't allowed to join. That's not justice. That's not right. But that's the world. The world is not our friend. I never thought that happened. I've been vocal for years on social media. But there's some black people that don't like me because of the color of my skin. They don't like me because I call it out like I see it. I did not do that in the workplace. But I didn't bow to them in fear, and that angered them. I'm not a threat to the black community. It's not my intention to be. But I've learned something. The truth is. Yeah, and why would the Democrats be scared? Look at Omar. She said that we who support Charlie Kirk are full of shit. Honey, you're the one with the crap-colored skin. Sorry, but I'm going to say that. You are so full of it, it's colored your skin. And I'm not saying that about all dark-skinned people. I don't like Omar. She's an enemy of the living God. And that's what we vote into office. Enemies of the Bible, enemies of God, enemies of Christ. I'm going to say something about that. The Democrats have encouraged and been using rhetoric, Jay, for some time, and they have yet to apologize. Not one of them stood up and said what Maxine said was not right. Did you hear Gavin Newsom? We need to punch them in the face. Mr. Soy Boy with his gel and his white hair. I'm sorry, I have no respect for a guy that age with white hair gelling his hair, trying to look like he's from Saved by the Bell. He better get it straight and get saved from hell. Why are Democrats afraid of us? When's the last time Republicans were out there on a shooting spree killing Democrats? I don't know of any. But you make a point, Jay. I won't shoot it down. But Trump is responding to what's happened. And the Democrats should learn to have fear. And when I say that, listen to what I'm saying. They've been very bold. They've had no fear. They don't care about our feelings. This should tip the scales for them to say, you better watch it. You've encouraged violence. We're all awake to that, and you should be afraid. You did wrong. Not afraid that we're going to come and hurt you, but you should be afraid. You clowns are losing your jobs. Airline pilots. A black nurse down in Atlanta worked for a children's hospital. You should not be in the healthcare industry. And they're even saying these doctors, brain surgeons that were making rude comments, not only should they lose their job, they should have their certification stripped. Because if you're going to work on people, can you imagine if that brain surgeon knew I was a believer in Christ and Trump? He decides to make a mistake during the surgery. When you take the Hippocratic Oath, you do your job for all people. I don't need a doctor in there saying the kind of things these people are saying. The CDC was polluted by the Democrats. The FBI was polluted by the Democrats. Science has been hijacked by atheist Democrats. I'm tired of it. And the Democrats should be afraid. They're teaching children lies. The Democrats have encouraged crime by teaching that there is no God. The Democrats have encouraged violence against Republicans. They haven't had any fear. They've been bold, arrogant, boastful, and they should be humbled. Not by weapons from us, but by the sheer fact that what they did wasn't right, and you better watch it because God's going to get them for that. Donald Trump did not tell his people to storm the Capitol. They were to have a meetup. And if you look at the evidence, Nancy Pelosi and all those people, they wanted that to happen. Not one politician's life was in danger, by the way. I don't know if you failed to take that into account. And that same party that complained about the insurrection, do you know how many billions of dollars of damage and lives were lost over the riots? Total pin drop crickets from the left, including Al Sharpton, Barack Obama, Maxine Waters. Maxine got up there and said, we need to confront them in the streets, the gas stations, the restaurants. And they started doing it. Why wasn't she brought to trial? I never said it was a Christian country, but it was built on a Judeo-Christian ethic through the Constitution, absolutely. You can't deny that. It was built on a Judeo-Christian ethic. A lot of our laws were Judeo-Christian in the sense of, the laws about murder and all that, okay? But our system of law and order was built on the Roman system. The Capitol buildings all look straight out of Rome. Jay, are you female or male? I assumed you were a guy. Hi, Jess. How are you? God-given and inalienable rights. Yes. Jay, how are you? But I didn't ignore your point when I was able to finally see it, did I? I came to the middle of the road and agreed with you. All of us have to be careful. But Jay, the Democrats weren't even trying to be careful. Why didn't you address that when they were doing that? How'd you get kicked off? Most of them weren't Christians. I don't even know how many actually were. They claimed to have a belief in God. Wasn't Jefferson an atheist? Did you know that they actually wore women's clothing and makeup and wigs too? There's a lot of interesting things. But they still put together an outstanding document. Lynn, you crack me up. Well, that's because we let the government buy up all the farms, which was really bad. Anytime the government gets involved in stuff, private ownership, Amtrak, the post office, it goes to hell. Post office is really falling apart. And the cost of a stamp just goes up and up and up. And people, shoot, the post office took a hit with email. It took a hit. Oh, man. Fal, are you still here? Jay, you're preaching to the choir. I never said America was a Christian nation. But that does not mean that we who have conviction cannot bring our Christian principles and belief system to bear down on how we're going to vote or legislate. The Constitution talks about the separation of church and state. That does not mean that I cannot run as a Christian and use my conviction to determine how I'm going to vote or legislate. People do it all the time. Hey, Franny. Jess, what is the WWL? I was going to ask you that. Jess of the WWL. Yeah, one nation under God. Good point, Jay. Thank you for the refresh. What does that mean, Jay? So why should it be run as an atheist or a Muslim nation, which it is not supposed to be? There's no neutral ground here, Jay. Who gets to control it? The atheists? The Muslims? Christians? Woke? Liberals? Who gets to control it? Oh, the Women Weed League. Oh my gosh. Jess, I did not know that. Naughty little girl. I need to cook some food. Man, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Mr. E-Rock, and if you're still here, there's so many conversations going on, I can't keep up with everybody. It never was run as a religion, but that doesn't mean we can't vote our conscience on issues. Shouldn't be run by abortionists or LGBT people either. Special interest groups. They got their own agenda, but it is. All right, folks, I got to end this and get a plan together today. Day after day of no work is getting on my nerves. I want to thank everybody for coming, your input. No, I've given Jay the right to say what I'm assuming is a she. Hey, Lynn. And, she hasn't been rude to me. A heathen with a heart of love. Jess, you crack me up. Should I have the right to say no to being forced to donate a body part or organ? Of course. Nobody's forced to donate. Nobody. Why is that even a valid question, Jay? Because that's voluntary. You can choose to be an organ donor. Is there a moon out there? Let's go outside and see if we can track a moon down. Wait. I gotta stir my pot of porridge. What is porridge? Anybody want to tell me what porridge is? It's not oatmeal, is it? I always wondered if British call it porridge. I don't believe I've ever had porridge. Doobadabba-doobadabba, scooby-doo. I have to go to the potty. Organ donorship is voluntary. You can put it on your license, or you can say, you don't. No, it isn't. You're killing a human being. Not fair. That doesn't get a choice. Not fair. You don't want somebody telling you what to do, but you're telling that child that he doesn't get to make a choice, or she. So you're wrong. We're not going to win that argument because it's murder. You're overstepping the right of that child to choose. So I'm tired of women saying abortion's about choice. It's a choice for the selfish woman that does it, but not for the kid within. And I said it like that for a reason. Women want an abortion because they're selfish. You open your legs, you did what you did, and you don't want to pay the consequence. If you don't want a kid, don't have sex. Wear protection, get your tubes tied, do something. You don't conveniently murder for your own personal expediency. Yeah, giving somebody a kidney is not murder. Jay, you're going into hypotheticals. We're talking about the kid in the womb that you choose to agree with abortionists and killing. That is murder. Murder's not okay. And we're done with that discussion. I need to go. I was going to go out and see if the moon is out because Jess was talking about the moon. Everybody's values are different, but we need to be set to the same standard. If you have a volleyball game, there's rules you have to follow when you play volleyball. One person may choose that, well, I don't want to follow these rules. Well, you can't have a volleyball game if everybody redefines the game rules or how high the net is. Same thing about life. God is the standard giver, and we do not have the right to move the standard around to our own personal preferences. And that's the problem of why America's falling apart. transgender want rights and are shooting people that disagree with them. That is a problem. So people are all worried about religion. Christians aren't shooting people. But we are tired of being maligned. Why am I grabbing this? Because I'm dumb. I brought it here to dump it, and I walked right back with it in my hand. The problem is, Jay, is people are forcing their stuff on other people that don't get to choose, i.e., abortion snuffs out the right of the kid. Oh, it's already sunlight or morning time. Where's the moon? There it is. There's the moon, Jess. Yeah, that's a weak argument, Jay. The number of people who have abortion far exceeds those due to rape. Rape is, it's not even that big in the big equation. That is so, it's the weakest argument you can use. It really is. That is so cool. Yeah, you too. Mr. E-Rock, have a good day and be careful. Well, Jay, you have a right to disagree, but it's still murder. You don't get to determine whose life is worth living and whose isn't. You're not God. And that's the problem. You don't believe in God, so you make yourself God, and you make yourself the judge and jury, and that's dangerous ground. All right, I got to go. You guys have a good day. And we will see you all later, Lord willing. Everybody.